Before I get started with the story, let me give a shout out to Ashen for putting this in the Discord. And let me tell you something right now. What you're about to hear is absolutely ridiculous, and it just shows you the direction of where society is going as a whole, inside or outside of the entertainment industry. So everybody with a pair of eyes and a long movie history will know what this logo is. This is 007, the logo for James Bond. Now, I'm going to just throw this in here. I actually saw the latest 007 movie, which was No Time to Die. The only reason I did not review it is because I did not see the film before it that was connected to this movie. So it was hard for me to really explain what it was that I was watching. But the movie was pretty decent, and it was a way to send Daniel Craig off. I mean, spoiler alert, in case y'all didn't know, this was his last go round as James Bond. And with how they ended, I'm trying to figure out what they're going to be doing with the James Bond character going forward, considering they did something with this James Bond that they didn't do with the previous ones as far as a send-off goes. I'm going to just leave it at that. And I think y'all can pretty much read between the lines of what it is that I'm talking about. But as you know, the James Bond character has been made famous since the 60s, with Sean Connery. I think someone else played it before him in what was a show that didn't last long, so they just decided to make it into a series of films, with Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and Pierce Brosnan, and then most recently Daniel Craig. There was always this thing where they wanted... Sorry about that. Let me start back from where I was at. What I was saying was there was this always a thing where people said who would be the next James Bond after Daniel Craig, because there's always that thing of searching for the next Bond, especially when an actor has played Bond for a few movies and then it's like you get used to him and now you got to find another one. And the name Idris Elba was constantly thrown out there, and they were like, wow, the first black James Bond. But of course that fell through because, well, and then, I don't think some people who are black were saying we don't even want him to be James Bond because James Bond was always historically known to be a white male. So, why even do that? Why not just create a film that's James Bond-esque and have Idris play that role without it looking like it's leaning too heavy on 007? I mean, how many agent or spy agent movies have we seen over the years and they've had black agents? So it's really not so much that it's biting off of anything, because spy agent movies is not an original concept anymore. So it doesn't have to be James Bond per se. So what else do you have? Then it was the rumor that one of the black actresses, whose name is Lashana Lynch, was possibly going to be the next 007. And in the movie she is, but she shares the 007 moniker with James Bond. So it's two 007s in the latest movie, No Time to Die. And then it's like, okay, she might be the new James Bond. But based on this article that Ashen posted in Discord, it doesn't look like it's going to be her. So according to what I'm about to read to you, and this is why I say this is the ridiculous direction that society is going in. You have this woman by the name of Barbara Broccoli. I'm not entirely sure who she is, who says that 007 could be non-binary, someone who considers themselves neither male or female. So we're going to have a James Bond or a Bond, a 007 agent, because it doesn't say James Bond, because remember, if they're non-binary, they don't have a name. They don't attach themselves to a gender, so they don't identify as male or female, even though a male or female will be playing that part. Like, no one would see that. Nobody would see that. I wouldn't even read the script behind that. Like, could you imagine what that script would look like? But let me go ahead and read this article and see what they're talking about. And ironically, a woman wants to come up with this concept. He may be an enduring symbol of masculinity, but Britain's most famous spy could identify as non-binary in the future, 007's producer has revealed. Barbara Broccoli has poured cold water on suggestions the role could go to a woman, But in a new interview, she conceded a future Bond could be non-binary, someone who considers themselves neither male or female and usually prefers to be called to or he or she, basically a pronoun they referred to as they rather than he or she, basically these extracurricular pronouns. Speaking to the Girls on Film podcast, Ms. Broccoli talked about the hunt to replace Daniel Craig, who is stepping down from the role after No Time to Die. When host Anna Smith asked if she thought 007 would always be male, she replied, "I do, because I don't think that we should be making films where women are playing men. I think we should be making more films about women. I think Bond will be a man." Smith suggested non-binary, perhaps maybe one day, to which Ms. Broccoli replied, "Who knows? I mean, I think it's open. We just have to find the right actor." Ms. Broccoli, who controls the 007 franchise through her Eon production company, also said the next Bond might not be white, adding, "We want the actor to be British, and British, as we know, can be many things." Names linked with the role include Idris Elba, Bridgerton's Reg John Page, Mad Max star Tom Hardy, and Bodyguard actor Richard Madden. Last night, one Hollywood producer said Bond has to adapt to the times, but a non-binary 007 might be hard for fans to accept. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. It would not make any sense, a non-binary James Bond. Like, could you imagine how that would go? Now, it's one thing if you wanted to create a non-binary character that is not James Bond, but to create a non-binary 007, because the thing is, the character wouldn't even be called James Bond. It would just be a non-binary 007 agent. Like, how would that work? Because as we know, James Bond is a man who identifies as male. So you would have to have a whole new character play that part, and they could not identify themselves as a gender. That would be one of the most cringiest films ever to watch. That's why I said I wouldn't even read the script. Like, that would be a joke, a complete and utter joke. They better go back to the drawing board and rethink this. And the person who said the world is not ready for a non-binary 007 character, they are absolutely correct. And to be honest, I don't think the world ever would be or accept it. That is so stupid. That is so dumb. I'm saying that right now, so you don't have to. But if you should, go right on ahead, because that is absolutely remedial. A non-binary 007 agent. Like, this is how you know that Hollywood is losing its luster as far as creativity. Now, the person who's behind this, the producer, did not come up with this idea. The person who was interviewing them, another woman, brought this up. It doesn't surprise me. Have y'all noticed that when it comes to like a lot of topics such as this, a lot of the women want to bring in the foolishness, especially when it comes to a male character, because the James Bond character has always been seen as peak masculinity as far as films go, or how a lot of guys try to strive to be, on more so of the non-agent side, because let's be real, like, that's a lot of that stuff is impractical. But on the side of, he dresses well, he's suave, he's smooth, and of course he gets a lot of women. That's for a lot of guys peak masculinity, and you want to shift that into a quote unquote non-binary direction. Like I said, if you thought they were outraged about possibly turning 007 into a woman, let them do something with this. First, you said we might switch his race out. Who knows what we might make him? People got upset about that. We might make 007 a woman. People got upset about that. Oh, you know what? Why don't we try non-binary? It seems like they just continue to sink. Now they're at the ocean floor. They're at the floor. So they need to scrap that idea. Forget that they even thought of this as an idea, and come up with something else, and fast, because As like they said, Daniel Craig is no longer 007, and they need to be in search of a new one. But that idea, that needs to go.